Hey everybody, this is Professor Chandler, and we are ready to start our second week of Comp 1. So you guys did really fantastic last week. I was really excited to see the discussions that were taking place and just the encouragement and just the energy that you guys were putting out there was really awesome. And it just really makes me excited about this course that we're going to have this summer. And so we are going to get moving right over into our very first essay. And I'm thinking with the kind of engagement that you guys have had this last week, I cannot wait to see the first essays. So you're going to see right here, we've got week 2. And we do have a bit more work to do this week than we did last week. We're really kind of diving right into our course. But hey, we go very quickly and we're going to be done in 7 more weeks. So hang in there. You guys have got this. So you can see right here, our whole objective this week is to begin looking at things a little bit more closely and to start thinking about them a little bit more critically. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to take a text and we're going to really see what is being said here. And I'm going to use music for this very first assignment. I happen to really like all different types of genres. I like things that have messages and meaning. I particularly love music because you get to not only have really great lyrics that, have a message for us to look at, but we can look at how the message is being conveyed by the types of instruments or the rhythm and the beat that's accompanying the lyrics. But then you also many times have a really cool video to go with it. So we have something visual happening too. Those things that are coming together, the things that we are reading, the things that we are seeing visually, the things that we are hearing. I mean, they're amazing different types of messages that culminate into something really, really powerful. And I'm willing to bet pretty much most of you guys have your own favorite genre and your own favorite kinds of songs. I mean, we pick them out all the time for important things that are happening, whether it's, the wedding song or the kinds of songs that we use to get through breakups or the songs that, we might sing in our religious environments, the songs that we might play when we're cleaning the house or washing the car or having our friends over. Sometimes we have songs that have a message that inspires us to change the world. Those are some of my favorite. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit more when we get into the podcast. So be sure to listen to this week's podcast, which is Everything is an Argument. And I really encourage you to take some time, as you're driving around, do some other errands. Don't feel that you have to stay by the screen, but I think you're going to find something very important within that podcast that's going to help you as you start analyzing our first text here, which I'm going to give you some choice on. And then, of course, the first essay that we're going to start writing. So this week, we are working on the rough draft for our very first essay, which is on protest music. Now, when I say protest music, it does not mean that it has to be something based on, civil rights or politics. Protesting could be about many different types of things. It could be about beauty standards. It could be about the environment. It could be, really kind of defying the materialism of our world. I know Ed Sheeran's Beautiful People, I think, is a great protest song. It's not really calling out politics per se, but it's definitely calling out our materialistic society and saying, all these people who are famous or whatever, it's not really what it's all cracked up to be. Justin Bieber also does this in Lonely. He, talks and protests in this song about, just how hard it is to be a kid growing up under the spotlight and how people try to consume people as much as they do their music. So really some great thought-provoking things are happening within music. So I encourage you to find a protest song or, really meaningful song that you think has a message that goes on a much deeper level than, like, say, Justin Bieber's Baby, Baby, Baby. So let's see what we can find. I do have one song I'm not going to let you do, and that is Childish Gambino's This Is America. Now, the only reason I'm not letting you do that, I think it's a fantastic song. It's a wonderful example of protest song or something that has a lot of great thought and a great video to go with. But the problem is it's been analyzed so much publicly that a lot of students start borrowing the analysis of somebody else and stop writing their own. I want you to pick something that there isn't a lot of stuff written out on. And you tell me what that song means to you. Here's the cool thing about English. There's not only one right answer to things. You can make things up, right? Yeah, you can't do that in math. You really can't do that in history, although I think some people try. But you can do that in English. You get to make up what something means because things mean different things to everybody, as long as you can back it up with proof from the text or the instruments or the video. So that's where you get to say, hey, this has something that has a richer meaning, and here's where I'm going to show you. That's what I'm looking for. The really great thing about composition and argument is, it takes us beyond what's happening with Twitter. And now all of a sudden we're really starting to break things down and back it up beyond just opinion, and to start pulling in a little bit of expertise by using, examples. So you can have examples in this essay, and you're going to see when we break down how that essay goes that it's so super important that we do. I'm going to want you to include textual evidence, and that really just means either a line from the song, the lyrics, or a specific example from the video. That's what I mean by textual evidence. But you're going to want to have some textual evidence backing up your position in your body paragraphs. You won't need it in your introduction, and you won't need it in your conclusion. But those 3 body paragraphs are going to have some textual evidence backing up your claim. And this is kind of a boss move when you get into composition and you start writing a little bit higher level than, what we might have learned like in high school or what's done really in any type of social media environment. We really want to start backing up our claims. So you are going to be able to read through here, kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. You can see that your rough draft is going to be due, I put on the 14th. We're going to post it up. I really want you to at least have it posted that Monday or Tuesday, because we're going to do a peer review. I'm not going to have you submit your very first essay without me jumping in on there and some editing that's going on. I really want you to see that writing is a process, and then that first essay that a lot of us are really nervous about, I'm not going to just have you just write it blindly and then turn it in and get a grade. We're going to edit it. We're going to work in groups next week. I'm going to be giving you feedback. I'm going to give you some checklists. I'm going to let you see exactly what we're looking for in an academic essay. So your goal this week is to simply find your song, listen to it as many times as you can. Maybe it's one you know by heart, but listen to it again, because now I want you to look at it a little bit more critically. What is the real message here? We talked last week about audience, and so I want you to consider who is the audience in this song that you're talking about and writing about. And what is the message? What's the purpose of this particular text? Okay, so like I said, you're going to listen to this week's, podcast with Professor Parker and me, and we're going to talk about some different examples of using music as an argument. I also have our weekly grammar, which is comma splices, fragments, and run-ons. These are probably the most common errors that I'm going to find all semester in your writing. I do have a separate video for that to kind of go over that. You can see your reading. This week, it's all about protest music. And so I have a little bit of background information for you, which would be really helpful for you starting out that introductory paragraph. And, when we start off an argument, especially like in an essay, we kind of want to pretend that the person has not really been part of the conversation yet. And so we want to fill it in. You don't want to start off with, my song is about. You want to start off with something a little bit broader, like, maybe music is meaningful, and, there's different messages hidden within music. And then from there, you can kind of segue over and transition into introducing how this one particular song by this artist fits that definition, right? And then you kind of break down, what is that song about? So really, by the time when you're doing your introductory paragraph, you're not going to say what your song is about until probably around that third sentence in that first introduction. So slow it down a little bit. Let's paint a broader picture about music and protest and meaning, and then kind of segue over. Make sure that you introduce your artist and your song. We definitely want to have that right up front because so many of us are writing on different things. We can't make assumptions that people know what we're talking about. So let's start off and just ground it in, probably by that second or third sentence. You're going to want to introduce your artist and your song, and then you're going to maybe give a sentence or two summary of what that song is about. And then you're going to have your argument, your claim. And so we'll talk a little bit about thesis statements more as we progress. So when you're doing that background information, this protest video here, just kind of giving you a little background information, might really help you to come up with those, first sentence or two of your introductory paragraph. So check it out. It's not too long, but it will inform and maybe give you some, guidance in this topic. I also have lecture notes here, and I do have a little information about analyzing an argument. Argument in academia is not the same kind of stuff that happens on social media. This isn't about your emotions. This is about evidence. And so I really want you to realize we can debate about really powerful topics without being emotionally involved. We can step back for a minute and start looking at them as scholars. Where's the flaw? Where's the logic? Who has credibility talking here? What is this really about? And, later as you're going home, you can see how things affect you emotionally, but I really want you to practice looking at things as a scholar. I know I have a lot of you guys that are going into nursing, and so you can't always use your emotional bias in nursing. You're going to have to learn to go by facts. And so this is going to be a little bit of practice for that. So our goal here is, to treat this like this is some, text. You're Indiana Jones in it here a little bit. You're trying to unearth things that are really being said and the evidence that's happening. And I'll show you a little bit how I do that. But you can see here, if you have no idea what to write on, I give you 3 different songs you can choose from. You can choose another song, as long as it's not Childish Gambino. So that's the only one I don't want you writing on. I'm not offended by any music. I'm pretty much open. So this is an English class. You guys are adults. I expect you to be able to approach a topic, even if it does have, some strong emotions behind the particular song or some strong language behind it. I'm okay with that. We're all grown-ups here. So as long as we treat it like academics, then I think you can write on any song that you think this is a powerful message. Here's another thing. You can write about a song that has a powerful message, even if you disagree with the message that's being said. Sometimes those make really great essays because you can take what their message is and then completely strip it apart as you're doing it. Okay, so you can see I've got a few different choices here for you. I like Woody Guthrie, I like Sam Cooke, and I do have, some CCR. So if you're into maybe, music about war or music about civil rights or even music about, land. And the way that we look things. I know a lot of people think that, this land is your land was like an old song we learned in elementary school. But if you look a little bit closer, you can see, wow, there's a whole other set of lyrics they sure didn't teach us in school. So I hope you take a listen, at least, have some fun checking out some music. Of course, listen to some that you like. I do have a discussion post for us this week, and it's really going to get us thinking about, another type of argument within protest music. Should we ban some? I know we just had this big issue fallout with, Lil Nas just put out a song here not too long ago. And there was a lot of serious debate about whether songs like this should be played, should not be played. Is this protected under the First Amendment? And so I want you to actually look up, because remember, we're not going by feelings here. We're going to look up the First Amendment, and I actually copy that for you in the discussion post. Read what it says, and I want you to consider what is protected under there, And so let's start looking at evidence. We're going to pull ourselves away emotionally and start investing in as a scholar. What does it actually say? All right, and then you're going to see I have your essay here, which, I have posted also in, the major assignments tab, and this was also included in your packet, your syllabus packet. So you should be able to find this anywhere. You can see that you are going to write a 5-paragraph essay. I walk you through this whole thing. 5 paragraphs is nothing. You guys have got this. You've got an introduction, you've got 3 body paragraphs, and you have a conclusion. Now, here's how I start off. I first pick my topic, right? What the song I want to write on. So I'll give you an example. I, wrote a little bit on Pink's song, What About Us? A lot of people think that this is a breakup song, but I think if you listen a little bit closer, you're going to realize it is not a breakup between, this guy and girl. It is a breakup between constituents and their politicians. So this is really a protest song, and I break it down why I think it is. So I want to come up with a thesis statement. Now, a thesis statement is a one sentence argument that basically sums up what your entire paper is about. So I wrote, Pink's song, What About Us, is a protest song. That's my claim right there. I just said it's a protest song, right? I'm making a claim because, and I'm going to give you my roadmap, my reasons. A deeper analysis shows the song to be a critique of the government through both its lyrics and the music video. So when you're reading my essay on this, that I'm going to be talking about What About Us, and I'm going to be saying this is a protest song, and it's about the government, and we can see it through examples I'm going to give you in the lyrics, and examples I'm going to give you within the music video. So you're going to want to come up with that thesis statement, but that's really going to help you start backing it up. Now, by the time you get to your second paragraph, you're really starting to analyze the song. I think some of the best ways to start off your paragraphs is to use an academic paragraph. And this is what I do when I'm writing. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a claim. You can see right here, I'm going to borrow right up from my thesis statement. This song of Pink's is a protest against the government, right? So now we know that this is what I'm doing. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to define my terms. What do I mean, when I'm saying critiquing the government? I'm going to tell you why defining your terms is really important. If I were to say, this is a feminist song, there's going to be 30 different women in the room, and we're going to get 30 different responses about what feminism is. So I say, never let anybody define your terms for you. Always define what you mean. So I would want to define what I mean by my claim. What do I mean by it's critiquing the government? And here I might give a little bit of a background, right? I don't want someone to assume something of the terms that I'm using, especially in today's society when words are so incredibly powerful, but they're also used in so many different ways. I'm not going to let anybody else get a foothold on my argument. I'm going to define my own terms. So the first thing I do is I make a claim, then I explain what I mean. I define that term. By that third sentence, I'm using textual evidence. I'm going to go right to that song, and I'm going to pull out what I mean by that claim. This helps you, this roadmap will help you not only write these paragraphs, but it'll really help you back up those claims. So it's making these executed decisions for you here. You make a claim, you define your terms, you're using evidence. That fourth sentence, you're explaining your evidence. And then the fifth sentence, you're really concluding or transitioning. So when I say transition, I could be like, well, while we see protest in the lyrics of Pink's song, we also see it in her music video. And so I'm just letting you know I'm moving into a discussion. So then I'm going to do the same kind of thing with my third and fourth paragraph. Make a claim, define my terms, use some evidence, explain my evidence, conclude or transition. So you're going to really find 3 examples as you're listening to that song. What does this song mean and which things can I use? And like I said, there's a lot of different ways that we can go through this. We can look at the types of music that's being played. We can look at, the historical context when something was written. We can, listen to the instruments. Like, is this a heavy bass? What's the rhythm like here? What kind of mood is being set? All these things come into play. Of course, the music video. So look at the song through many, many different angles. What is really going on here, and what is the real meaning? Sometimes protest is hope, right? So don't limit yourself too much with what protest is. Protest is going against the norm, right? And this could be done in a very positive way. It could be done in a negative way. You really have a lot of leeway here. And when I say the norm, my goodness gracious, there's a norm of all different types of things. We could, look at this in many ways. So, think about your own favorite music or the ones that are most meaningful to you and see how can you connect this to a bigger message. All right, so the last thing that you're going to do is you're going to write a concluding paragraph, and you have a little freedom there. You can talk about, whether protest music is even valuable. Should we just get rid of it? Should people just be happy all the time and stop complaining? I mean, I can understand that sometimes, but you're going to want about 3 or 4 sentences to wrap that up. You should have about 500 words for this very first essay. And that's going to be about 2 pages fully typed. You will use MLA formatting, and I will give you another video on that next week, how to set up your paper in MLA formatting if you have never done that. You can also look in the content folder and scroll down, and you're going to see I have a folder all on MLA, and that video is right there. So if you're trying to get a jump start or you're ready to get going, you're going to see that. So all of our typing is going to be using Times New Roman font in 12-point font. So you can't use like 36 points and write a couple pages and think it's going to work. It's definitely not. So you're going to want to stick with those guidelines. The other thing that you're going to have is over on the left hand of your paper, you're going to have your name, my name, the class, and the date. This is just, standard MLA format. And you're going to do this for every paper that you write for me. And the last thing here is you want to give it a really great title. Don't do anything dreadful or boring. Protest song essay, essay number 1. You want to pull me in. I'm grading your paper, right? And you're trying to convince me of an argument, or you're trying to convince me that something is powerful. That title, essay 1 is not going to do it. So put some heart in here. Show me your flair. Show me your style and your voice and your passion. Pull me in. One of the things I like to do is sometimes I pull a lyric from the song and maybe something I think is really catchy or powerful. I do this when I write about film. I do this when I write about literature. I like to take their words of something that is like, wow, that's a bam statement. And I might pull that out and lead off with that on my title. All right, and then you're going to upload this into Dropbox, but we will do that by next Friday, not this week. This week is the rough draft. Get writing. Ask me some questions if you need some help, because I am here to help you through this. So hopefully you're feeling a little inspired and ready to tackle this. You might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed. That is totally normal. That is what writing is all about. The cool thing about writing is it is not necessarily just about you regurgitating information and putting it down. This is your thoughts. These are your voices. And when we learn to use them in really great ways, we can do amazing things. All right, so you're going to see the last thing I have on here for you is just the weekly grammar instruction. Like I said, fragments, comma splices, run-ons. I've got some videos here that you can watch that. I even have like comma splices with Katy Perry. Maybe you'll be like me and you'll see on Twitter that the only value of Twitter is to find everybody else's grammatical errors to use in the classes. When you're checking out the podcast, I did go ahead and put a link here of all the different songs that I'm talking about within there. You're free to use any of those in your essay. You're also free to pick your own. All right, last thing here is the oral presentation. Go ahead and check this out. We're going to start getting them done. You can get these done on your own at your own pace, as long as we have them done before week 7. So you're going to see, and I'll do another little video on how to do this, but you could probably walk right through how you record a short video like what I'm doing now, but yours only has to be about 2 minutes. And you're going to write on your favorite film because it is summer and I need some movies to watch. Hey, you guys have a great week. Let me know if you need any help. I'm happy to set up a Zoom meeting if you guys want. I know a couple people had mentioned one. We can brainstorm maybe on a Tuesday night or something and meet up, and I'm happy to answer questions you have about the essay or the work that we're going to be doing. I hope you have a good week. Reach out anytime. I am here to help you pass this class. Have a great week.